Sultan, and tonight I will be discussing why the state of Washington should abolish the death penalty. Because I don't have time to detail all of the cases currently on death row, I'm going to instead concentrate on two main points, which is cost and wrongful conviction. American political activist Ralph Nader was quoted as saying, "Since I was a law student, I have been against the death penalty. It does not deter. It is severely discriminatory against minorities, especially since they're not given competent legal counsel defense in many cases. It's a system that has to be perfect. You cannot execute one innocent person. No system is perfect." And to top it off, for those of you who are interested, in the economics, it costs more to pursue a capital case towards execution than it does to have full life imprisonment without parole. In fact, on average, a death penalty trial costs more than double the amount spent on non-death penalty cases. At the trial level, death penalty cases are estimated to generate roughly $470,000 in additional costs. That's to the prosecution and defense over trying the cost of the same case as an aggravated murder without the death penalty cost of $47,000 to $70,000. That's for court personnel. On direct appeal, the cost of an appellate defense averages $100,000. That's more death penalty cases than a non-death penalty. In Washington, King County has spent $656,564 to prosecute 3 capital defendants in 2 cases, and over $4.3 million to defend them. The money has been needed for expert witnesses, investigators, and forensic analysis. Prosecution costs do not include the work done by police or lab technicians. The county has struggled with constraints of budget and has eliminated the job of 36 prosecutors since 2008. Other countries with similar budgetary concerns have chosen not to seek the death penalty. Defense attorney Jeff Ellis has said that the high cost of the death penalty may be partly responsible for the drop in death penalty cases in other areas. He said, "There is a downturn in the number of death penalty sentences being sought and imposed because of the costs associated with them. What's happening now in King County is a reverse of what's happening nationwide." Al Gore said, "I support the death penalty. I think that it has to be administered not only fairly, with attention to things like DNA evidence. I think it should be used in all capital cases, but also with very careful attention. If the wrong guy is put to death, then that's a double tragedy. Not only has an innocent life been taken, but the real perpetrator of the crime has not been held accountable for it, and in some cases may still be at large. But I support the death penalty in the most heinous cases." So let's take a look at the facts. The risk of executing an innocent person is very real. Over 135 men have been exonerated from death rows around the country. Here in Washington, Benjamin Harris spent 12 years on death row for a crime that he did not commit before he was exonerated. Evidence we once thought was reliable, such as, eyewitness accounts, are not always accurate. DNA evidence has led to hundreds of exonerations, including several death row cases, but it's not available in all cases. Despite our best intentions, human beings simply cannot be right 100% of the time. And when there's a life on the line, one mistake is one too many. The death penalty process in the courts is longer and more complicated because a life is on the line, and shortcuts could mean irreversible mistakes. For this reason, the death penalty costs millions more dollars in the system than life without parole. Before a single appeal is even filed, the time and money spent pursuing one capital case in the state of Washington, we could solve and prosecute scores of other non-capital cases, thus removing the threat of violent criminals from our streets. Death penalty trials and appellate review take longer than those for non-death penalty cases. An average non-death penalty trial lasts 15 months. A death penalty trial, on average, lasts 20 months. The appellate review for non-death penalty cases lasts an average of 2 years, while a death penalty review lasts up to 7. Since 1981, the year Washington's current death penalty was enacted, we have had 31 death sentences imposed. 17 of these, 81% of the completed reviews, have been reversed, and none after remand have resulted in a death sentence. The reversals demonstrate the presence of a systematic error leading to the death sentences and not one single identifiable factor. Over the years, capital punishment has led to stricter procedural rules, detailed legal principles, specialized jury selection, and specific demands, all which lead to the likelihood that most death sentences will most likely be reversed upon appellate review. 17 people have been proven innocent and exonerated by DNA testing in the United States after serving time on death row. They were convicted in 11 states and served a combined 209 years, including 187 years on death row, all for crimes they did not commit. Washington state lawmakers are considering a measure to abolish the death penalty, an effort that has failed in Washington state in recent years, but supporters hope it will gain traction after other states have recently issued moratoriums or outlawed it completely. Support from lawmakers and the families of the local murder victims are included. Our state has only put to death 5 people since capital punishment was reinstated in the 70s. Carol Klingbeil, whose sister Candy Hamming was murdered along with a bank teller partner, on by Michael Reeve, said, "I've come to believe that no one has the right to take another person's life for whatever reason." However, Stephen D. Stewart, a prosecuting attorney for Clark County, Indiana, has said, "No system of justice can produce results which are 100% certain at all the time. Mistakes will be made in any system which relies upon human testimony for proof. We should be vigilant to uncover and avoid such mistakes. Our system of justice rightfully demands a higher standard for death penalty cases. However, the risk of making a mistake with the extraordinary due process applied in death penalty cases is very small, and there is no credible evidence to show that any innocent person has been executed, at least since the death penalty was reactivated in 1976. The inevitability of a mistake should not serve as grounds to eliminate the death penalty any more than the risk of having a fatal wreck should make automobiles illegal. But you could counter that argument with the fact that automobiles have no sanctity of life. They are inanimate objects and therefore are not held to the same standard. The death penalty is among the oldest criminal punishments. It has served 3 purposes: to punish a crime, to prevent repetition of the crime, and to discourage crimes. The modern death penalty is imposed for similar reasons. However, the irreversible taking of a life today is considered abhorrent in criminal justice systems, notwithstanding the equally cruel prospect of life imprisonment. The basic objection to current death penalty laws are their inconsistent application. Massachusetts Senator John Kerry said, "I know something about killing. I don't like killing, and I don't think the state honors life by turning around and sanctioning killing." Now that's just a personal belief I have. So I would challenge all of you to take a look at the cost, not only monetarily, but morally, and judge for yourself if the death penalty in Washington is used correctly and consistently for all cases. There are far too many overturned cases to chance that after a death penalty is carried out, to find out that the defendant was in fact innocent.